Welcome to Everyday Black Men, a podcast for authentic black male thoughts. I am Riker. I am sadly not joined by R. Reed and Armstead, but my special guests, Forchunit as well as Salted Caramel, have agreed to step into their spots. We ran into a little bit issue, but it's not going to be an issue for you because we got a great podcast going for you today. Forchunit, I wanted to go ahead and just go straight into... No, go ahead. You want to tell people something? Go right ahead.
It's nothing about me. I am the everyday black man that these people speak of. I know nothing. I do nothing.
You do nothing?
But I say a lot, yeah.
So you say a lot. So you like everybody old granddad.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you do much. I don't do much right now.
I just realized I'm really an old fuck. That's who I am.
Well, hey, this is an explicit podcast, so get it off your chest. Get off your chest.
Man. It's just some stuff I just can't understand with these kids today, man.
Man, these kids today. See, that's how it starts. That's how you start getting old. When you start saying, these kids today, rabble.
Yeah, man.
That's the Cosby effect, right?
I mean, it is pretty much the Cosby effect. You're completely and totally right.
And I'm Salted Caramel. I'm here to just bring some estrogen into the room and give
Much
y'all
appreciated.
A little bit of feedback from the female perspective.
Well, we appreciate that. We definitely need some feedback from the female perspective. We don't get that very often.
Yeah.
Being everyday black men, we like to take charge. Hoorah!
Right.
Although we're not Marines, just want to put that out there. I know when you say hoorah, people tend to get a little bit dicey about that. Don't want to be faking up in there. We're not over there putting on little fake collars for Veterans Day, nothing like that.
Yeah, can't do it. I ain't gonna lie. I respect everybody. Every military person I respect, y'all. I can't make that sacrifice.
Exactly. I would never make that sacrifice. So you go right ahead.
I respect y'all. We need y'all. Salute. You can have my seat on the bus any day.
Exactly. But I guess the first topic we wanted to go into today would be about the Pusha T thing, man. It was pretty crazy. Pretty crazy.
Push.
Like, we saw King Push come and eviscerate poor Drake. And then we had Jay Prince like, hey, Drake had a diss track, but I wanted everybody to keep the peace. Didn't want to end nobody's careers. Nothing like that, which I understand. Sounds like some bullshit to me. But
I don't understand.
I mean, I feel like Drake owed us a response. Because Pusha came in and he gave us some information that requires some answers.
Right, man, some explanations.
Not only that, he ruined stuff for him.
If it's authentic hip hop, then it stays on vinyl. So although Drake released a statement regarding the whole blackface situation,
whitest thing ever.
We need it on record. We need it on vinyl. So I feel like he bowed out, but that's a loss.
It's definitely
because
an
in
L.
real hip hop, you respond on vinyl.
This is a big L on his record. It's a super duper
regardless.
L.
So
deadbeat motherfucker, let that little man
Bruh,
come
like it's disappointing as hell for anybody who ever wanted to hear Drake actually go at somebody that could put up a fight.
Hey man, Meek tried to. He just didn't have very good counsel.
Exactly. So he lost. So it was an ass whooping. So if you tired of seeing Golden State beat on the Cavaliers, sooner or later you're gonna want them to play somebody better. That's what we had.
LeBron need a super team.
That's what we had, and nothing happened, man. It was, and of course, okay, the street thing with Jay Prince and all of that, and him, trying to protect it from becoming something bigger than it needs to be.
It's bigger than rap.
I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit. It was a bailout. I think it was bullshit.
So you think?
Yeah, although if what Jay Prince is saying is true and Drake does have some sort of response hidden somewhere in the cut, I mean, for the sake of hip hop, somebody needs to leak that because because if it's that hard of a response, why not just release it?
And you know what? I say fuck that shit. Fuck all of it. At the end of the day, you respond. You respond on wax because you're a rapper. Don't get no excuses. All this rap beef. I mean, the street shit. It doesn't matter if it goes to another level. That's outside of us. Yeah, I handle that a different way. But as far as my responsibilities as a rapper, what that man did, what King Push did to Drake, to Aubrey, you respond as a rapper or step down, bruh. Step down.
Because then it makes all of his allegations seem valid.
Yeah,
like,
you
why can't you respond? Why can't you?
You can't be heralded as the best rapper and keep saying
Nobody.
you're the best rapper.
No, pause. Nobody said Drake was the best rapper.
No, but he's collectively thought as the most successful, top of the game person right now, right?
No, Jay-Z is still towering over that man.
Okay, this era. In this era,
I'll give you that.
You're not gonna put Jay-Z over Drake.
No,
I love Drake. That's my dude.
I just don't get it because from an adversarial standpoint, Drake kind of had the upper hand because Kanye is coming out, with all of these different issues happening,
right?
And he's the one that's executive producing Push's album.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of ammunition there. Like, so why not?
Because
why not hit
what
that?
it was? Nobody knows enough about the person in question, which is Pusha T. Like, you bringing up this stuff about Kanye. He's not battling Kanye. He's battling Push. He don't got nothing to say about Push. You know why? Push did his drug thing, stayed quiet, did underground rap, and now I'm talking shit to you. You have nothing to say about me. So Drake really had no responses for him. He can still
defend himself.
So he should still defend himself. It's up to him to figure out how to do it.
Do
Drake
you have
forgot
a son with
the
a porn
basic
star
right.
or not? Like,
yeah. He forgot the basic rule. Like, Eminem 8 Mile made it to where you always, if you want to be successful in this game, you got some dirt. Own your shit.
Right. Own it up.
Own it up so that they can't use it against you. You can't say shit about me having a whore for a girlfriend and all this other stuff. I say that shit first.
Right.
After that, you ain't got no ammo for me, and I'm going to hit everything that I know about you.
Right. So hold on, do y'all disrespect Drake now, or you don't respect him as much as you used to?
He can't be acknowledged as a true hip hop artist.
That was already taken away when he ghostwriting stuff.
He's not.
No. That's one distinction that we have to make clear. Just because someone has ghostwriters doesn't mean they're not a hip hop artist. All right.
I didn't say not a hip hop artist, but when you start mentioning the top rappers of all time, Drake's stock has dropped.
No. I still think Drake is one of the best rappers of all time.
What?
Because we care about success. This is something we going over on this podcast all the time.
Success is better than skill.
Fortunate success is all that matters. We judge you by success because that is the marker of what is going to remain.
Success,
because everyone is going to forget, sadly, Joe Budden and all these other guys. They are not going to be in the annals of history. Kids 100 years from now will not listen to them. But I guarantee they're going to listen to Jay-Z. I guarantee they're going to find a Beyonce song. I guarantee they're going to listen to Umbrella, Ella, A.A. They're going to find that. But they're not going to care about that. That stuff dies with us.
You got a point, but that is not the only marker.
Well, yeah, but that's a subjective marker. Sales are one of the few things that we can be objective about because either you sold 10 million or you didn't, bruh.
Right.
Like, there's no.
But when you talk about the best, you can't just go off of that. Because
but
if that's
we have
the case,
to go off of that.
Okay.
That's the only thing. That's the only thing that everybody had an equal opportunity at. Because you ain't got the equal opportunity to know great rappers.
If it's equal opportunity so much when it comes to sales, because a lot of these artists have major labels backing them, and that's why they're able to, have these phenomenal.
Wayne had an opportunity.
That's another thing.
To be great,
their record.
Yeah.
If you are coming from Atlantic and you have their backing, you're gonna have your music playing on iHeartRadio around the clock.
No, I get you on that. I get you on the iHeartRadio. I get you on Pandora and all the other stuff. But at the same time, who you sign with is up to you. Like, that's why people can hate on people who are underground like Tech Nine. But Tech Nine been like, I need to make my own ship since day one. He realized that was a big thing, is being able to captain your own stuff.
Ultimately,
that way you're putting stuff out in your things.
Drake's skill is his delivery. He's good at executing.
He sounds great.
Even if
on
someone else writes his rhymes, he's good at delivery. But as far as a real hip hop lyricist, I would pick Pusha T over Drake any day.
Any day of the week. But again, these new kids, these young cats, they don't care about delivery.
No, they
don't care about skill.
No,
because skill isn't what gets you in the game now. We know 1,000 SoundCloud rappers who could probably eat Lil Uzi Vert's lunch 100 times out of 100 times.
Have you seen that little girl? What's her name? Lele or something like that. And she just like 7 or 8. And she's
like Lil Tay or somebody?
She's
no. Unlike Lil Tay, she's actually good.
Oh, okay.
But Lele, you can look her up. That girl Lele 44 or something like that. She has like T.I. and all these producers. Like, that girl is talented, and it's about her delivery. It's about her delivery.
Yeah.
So hold on. If we're talking about record sales is what puts you to the best rapper ever, right?
Mm-hmm.
You telling me Soulja Boy, Bow Wow, they in the top 20? They in the top 20 of best rappers of all time?
Based on sales, yeah.
Bow Wow and Soulja Boy, who has, based on sales, probably outsold a lot of people.
Yeah, based on that. We go by something that's objective. I understand that it's not going to necessarily make you great, but that also means that a lot of your big favorites, Biggie, Tupac, Big Pun, all these other guys, they're going to be in there because they sold a lot way before then. And they get the advantage of being older, so we always calculate what they did back then in today's dollars would be X. Would be this many streams, would be this little whatever. Like, we can always give credence to the people beforehand, but that's the only way that we're able to have an objective measure. Because if anything else we do, whether it's ability, whether it's delivery, whether it's presence, whether it is going to be subjective, and it's going to be
music in general is subjective.
I understand, but that's why we have to use an objective format.
I feel like the bottom line is Drake should have responded.
Yeah, you're
it's
right.
a fact.
The bottom line is Drake should have responded.
You lose a lot of cool
and you
points.
lose mad cool points.
And don't come out with an album and pour all your feelings on the album because that's not.
Don't nobody
count.
Give a fuck.
That's not gonna count.
Yeah. Why you ain't say nothing at the time?
Yeah, at the end of the day, this
because
was
your
a
OG
battle,
said no,
and you lost because you bowed out gracefully.
It's some stuff you got to do. In spite of the people that got your best interests or people trying to protect you or people that's invested in you. It's some things that you do as a man, but I actually as a fucking artist. As a fucking artist, you don't let shit like that slide. You just don't.
And then it's like you were at a fight on the playground and you were losing, so you had your dad step in and say, whoa, exactly. You're not playing fair.
Don't do that because you might kill him.
Yeah, but people do that all the time to their kids.
They do.
Stop them all the time.
Because you're not supposed to.
But no. The point that you're making is, but you a man. Like, this ain't no playground beat.
Right, exactly. You ain't no boy. You a
like take the L and be like, look, I know that I did the wrong thing, but look, this nigga started the battle.
And that goes to question, what the fuck did Drake say to Jay Prince? When Jay Prince was like, hey man, you shouldn't do this because there's this, that, and that party that could be affected, and this might come in and the fallout is going to be this, and that's not good for the set, yada, 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 whatever he said.
Well, I think
did
it goes
Drake
back
say
to
okay?
Your point about sales.
Drake was like, cool?
Because you fucking up money now.
Yeah, and Jay
what
Prince
money?
He's
with everybody.
Son is the
everybody
one
rich already. What are we talking about?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is rich people want to keep being rich.
If
Drake ends up burning the Jay Prince bridge, guarantee he's not going to do the numbers like he used to do. And that's just because he's going to get blackballed by the industry. And we saw this with like Remy Ma. Remy Ma rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because of her style. She was very abrasive, aggressive. Mm-hmm. All these other adjectives that they did whenever a black woman steps outside of line of whatever they want to do. Right. People want to say that Nicki Minaj right now has identity crisis with the whole going from Chung Lee to being queen, but it's like
she's still commercial.
Whatever.
Remy Ma is not.
Exactly.
Well, no. My point that I'm trying to make is, well, yes. But the point that I'm trying to make is that although Nicki Minaj is right now having an identity crisis of who she wants to be, whether it's Chinese Chung Li or this neo-African queen, which really isn't a queen because queens are on thrones, not in trees. Right. But at the same time, Nicki plays the game. And that's the big thing that Remy didn't do early on in her career. She didn't play the game. Foxy Brown and, Foxy
had Jay playing the game for her.
Yeah, she played the game for quite a bit.
Jay,
as well
Jay
as
played it for her.
Well, no, but she was part of that. No one can play the game for you if you aren't at least going to sit down.
Yeah, willing to put your pieces out. Yeah,
exactly. She put her pieces on the table and she played. But what I'm saying is that that's something that Remy Ma didn't do very well at the beginning, and so that's why she is where she is now. But all of that leads me back to like the next thing, which is like, what are we gonna do about this whole Kim Kardashian thing? Because again, if we're going by success, she was successful. She got Trump to pardon a woman who really shouldn't have gotten that long ass life sentence for a non-violent drug offense. At the same time, we could be giving Trump now a license to just come in here and be like, oh, I'm gonna pardon this one thing which really shouldn't have been a problem to begin with, and I'm gonna be like, look at all the things I did for black people.
Well, I think so. First of all, what a lot of people don't know is that there was actually a movement of black activists that went to the White House a week before Kim did, and it wasn't publicized. Nobody said anything because, of course, 45 is not expected to respond to any type of engagement from black folks at all.
Right.
But I think what's even more of a problem is the fact that because, you know, Kim basically aligned herself with 45 and has these millions and millions and millions of followers and gave him this platform to say, okay, I pardon, you know, y'all little black, you know, princess or whatever. Now he has that leverage when it's re-election time to say, you know, I did this for your people. Right. Now, what are you going to do?
Which I don't think anybody should allow that to move the needle. That don't mean
at all,
means
because
nothing.
the fundamental issue is mass incarceration.
Right.
And
you didn't do anything on the actual issue.
No.
Nothing.
And not only that, but all of the initiatives that Obama made to kind of rectify this whole mass incarceration issue. Sessions, which is what the Attorney General is now rolling all of those back. So, and he's actually requiring them to bring the hammer down on these low-level drug offenses. So, you know, essentially what he did was just place a shiny object there.
Right, it's distraction.
To distract us from
the fact that they're and then give you an ice cream cone. Everything's supposed to be peace. It's not.
Hey man, the ice cream cone was pretty nice.
It was nice, but guess what? All my people still locked up. All of the whole fucking process is completely broken. I mean, like from. Oh my God! From arrest until trial until sentence is all broken.
That's a just issue overall.
It's America. It's an America issue because let's frame this the right way, right? We have a man in the White House whose family is profiting off of his position illegally, getting away with it. Yeah. You know, they're debating whether he can be charged criminally for committing crimes.
Exactly.
While they're wrongfully incarcerating at a high rate low-level drug offenses unfairly, right?
Yeah.
So that's literally the epitome of the unfairness and the inequality that's going on in this country.
And nobody is looking at it that way. The way I look at it as everything that this whole administration is doing, everything Trump doing, all of the shit they doing is at a gangster level. Is that I'm taking over this neighborhood. You gonna pay me this money because I'm keeping you safe, even though you only paying me because I told you it was dangerous. Like that type of shit. They're extorting laws or whatever you want to have. However you want to do that analogy. They're criminalizing and gangstering up the whole situation to the point where nobody's stepping up against them. Nobody's gonna say anything. There's no recourse for the things that they do. The fucking Democratic Party is.
Well, Democrats been in shambles for forever.
Bitches. I don't understand it.
But the problem is that Democrats are afraid in the post-Clinton era. They took a huge L because they just basically told all the Bernie supporters, fuck you, and then they didn't show up when it comes time to it. Whereas Republicans were going to rally around Trump whether they liked him or not. Because at the end of the day, business is business. And that's how they see things. Whereas Democrats don't see it.
I mean, 45 had one concept right, which was the whole idea of draining the swamp. And
it was a lie.
No, but that's a lie.
No, I do feel like aside from, you know, the extreme liberals like Bernie, you know, that unless there's actual new political talent from like the millennials generation,
but that's at least
something
10 years off.
This is true.
But that's 10 years off.
We're not going anywhere because
but that's 10 years off.
We need, like you said, we need some people on the left that's going to match that gangster.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because they're coming in there and they're saying, we're conservatives. Mm-hmm. You know, we have these family values. Meanwhile, Trump is in the White House sleeping with freaking prostitutes and doing whatever under the guise of being a Republican when we all know that is not a true Republican. So unless we have some Democrats that's going to match that gangster and that's going to step up and say, okay, this is what we want, this is what we're fighting for, he's not going anywhere.
So where do you find
Where
the
are the Democrats saying he needs to be impeached? Where are the Democrats saying he needs to go to jail?
No, there are plenty of Democrats who've been trying to impeach him, but there are people in the House, and we completely ignore the House of Representatives. We ignore everything that they do. We ignore what they say. We ignore anything that goes on outside of the Senate, White House, Judiciary, committees, and, of course, the Justice Department, and sometimes the, let's scratch that. Exactly. If you're not in the Senate, Judiciary Committee, Justice Department, or the White House, we just pretend like you don't exist. Right. Like, you don't have anything that happens. Even though the House of Representatives, like, is, generally speaking, the last little gateway between a lot of the bullshit that they've been trying to do.
You gotta find that gangster though, man. You gotta find
But
somebody in the House of Representatives, somebody on the Senate floor.
The
that's
Democrats
gonna step up.
don't have any plans. Like, the problem with the Democrats is that the Democrats
have a message.
the Democrats are always going after whoever is the hot minority group. Because the Republicans only have to satisfy three things: family values, conservative America,
gun reform, or
and
gun
traditional Americans. Right. And what I mean by that is the family values thing is pretty self-explanatory. The conservative thing, it just, as long as you just say something that's slightly to the right of what the liberals are saying, then you're fine. And then by doing traditional family, just keeping it as man, woman, children, do your American duty bullshit. Democrats got to satisfy LGBT. They got to satisfy black voters, Pacific American voters, Asian American voters, Latino American voters. They got to satisfy technically quasi-illegal voters. They got to satisfy refugees. They got to satisfy whatever the current flavor of the month group is. Right now it's trans Americans, but it'll change. Like, they've got 10 houses.
But then they can actually not water it down, but they can actually laser focus that into the top 3 issue positions.
But that's what they've been doing, and that's why they've been failing, because
and get them, and get the minority voters who are unengaged to actually, start getting engaged. I mean,
but how? Like, the thing that Trump did very well, and what his campaign focused on in his first year, 2017, was they focused on tax reform. That was it. They didn't give a fuck about anything else that was going on. They didn't care. It was just, how do we get this tax reform, and how do we get it to your pocket? Democrats don't have a laser-focused issue that they can get everyone around.
They don't even have
Common
a party
decency
leader.
can't be an issue.
They don't even have a party leader, because I feel like a lot of these people who are there now are somewhat...
Republicans don't have a party leader.
Are somewhat tainted by this whole Clinton debacle.
Well,
so
but the Clinton
Nancy
debacle
Pelosi
is a big...
going to listen to her,
No, Nancy Pelosi is a corporate Democrat. It's not that people don't listen to her.
That is the real problem. It's a lot of...
But she's not going to go.
And that's what I mean by, by
no one can vote her out.
Swamp,
No one can...
Like,
but that's the thing, is that Trump knows he's not going to be able to get out the Nancy Pelosi's, because Nancy Pelosi's in a district that she fucking owns. She fought tooth and claw to establish that stronghold, and the only way that Nancy Pelosi is leaving is if Nancy Pelosi says, fuck it, I'm out. That's never going to happen. She's not like Mark Ryan, where she wants to retire early and live with her family. Paul Ryan's the other one.
Speaker of the House?
Yeah, Mark Ryan. Mark Ryan is retiring. Why? Because Mark Ryan is done. He's got health care for the rest of his life. He's got a pension for the rest of his life. He's going to spend his time on a beach somewhere, hanging out, doing whatever he wants.
Because Paul Ryan's stepping down too.
Oh, Paul Ryan's stepping down too?
Yeah, that's who's stepping down.
He's the Speaker of the House, right?
Yeah, Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan. He's already said that he's not running for re-election. So at this point, Trump train is running unabated.
Right. Even though Paul Ryan wasn't stopping nothing anyway.
You're right. I was confusing his name.
Yeah, you mean Paul Ryan.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like they're now putting illegal, undocumented kids in cages. Mm-hmm. That's like some concentration camp shit.
No, it's not some concentration camp shit. It is concentration camp.
And it's like, weren't we obsessed that Obama was going to be the Antichrist? And this nigga's just getting away with everything. But they don't care
because it's not their children. Again, Democrats
and
haven't...
My thing is, Trump will... 45 will throw anybody under the bus. Why is it that these Republicans don't understand that if it is between him and them, he's going to save himself? Right. So y'all are literally supporting this dictator, because that's what he's going to end up becoming if he's not impeached and thrown in jail. And I'm like, the same way he will throw these Mexican kids in cages and basically concentration camps is the same way he will throw Asians. He will throw, people who have permanent resident status, because apparently unless you're born here with blonde hair and blue eyes, you don't belong. So, nobody has the ability to stop him.
But he's not the only one doing it. But he's not the only one doing it. They're doing the same thing. I know people love Dominican Republic, but fuck the DR. They're doing the same thing to people who've been in Haiti. They went and they rolled back all their laws. If you weren't born to legal people in Haiti from 1924 going forward, you are not a citizen now. We have revoked your state.
So now these are issues, because I don't think people seem to understand that, there are American citizens who have the ability to vote who are being affected by these issues. There are Puerto Rican Americans who, Puerto Ricans.
But
can vote.
this is
But
a
I'm
white
saying,
issue.
like,
Like that's the problem that's the thing that we're not saying here. That is unspoken. This is a white issue, and it does not affect white people. Right. And unless it affects their bottom line, their pockets, their money, their health care, their resources, it won't be whatever. That's why, like, you see with the crack epidemic, nobody did shit to save crack people. But with this opioid epidemic, we rolling out government, everything. Crazy. We going with preventative programs. We're going with deterred probation programs to keep people out of jail. We are doing everything because it's a white issue.
I feel like we are starting to have some power and some effect. Look at the Starbucks situation.
But the Starbucks situation, fuck that. That is a bullshit example because Starbucks shut down for half the day.
Well, I have to admit that morning, I absolutely forgot that they were supposed to be shutting down, and I went to my neighborhood Kroger, and Starbucks was open.
Word.
So I don't understand.
Everybody probably ain't got the memo. You know what I'm
saying? I don't think everybody got the memo.
I think we as a people, as a democratic state, as everybody who wants this change, who sees the bad stuff that's happening in government, are continuing to look towards, unfortunately, old white men to fix our problems.
And I think that it's not going to. Nobody's gonna pump the brakes until things get to like critical unrest. Crisis situation.
I feel like you're wrong. I feel like no one's gonna pump the brakes. And what we need to be doing is people need to be out there voting. Like that's why I was so happy about the whole Stacey Abrams thing, is because now we have a black woman who's eligible to run for governor, who is going to be great. And this is something where the Democrats tried to sabotage her campaign.
No, so but again, I'm talking
Democrats
about crisis.
Your friends.
I'm talking about like nuclear war level crisis. Like but that's never going to happen. But that's that it could be a point where it gets.
But that's never going to happen. It's never going to be a nuclear war crisis.
Things like the little Rocket Man references and all these different things, like
Yeah, but that was one of the
Canada
skillful
for burning down the White House when that's
not
even correct.
That's Trump craziness. But the little Rocket Man comments, I understand that Trump was way too far to the whatever, but he was effective because he made Kim realize that Trump doesn't care. And when you have to reckon with a man who doesn't care,
right. You never fight somebody
you have to do whatever. So he was effective in getting Kim to come to the table. But also part of it was that, as we all know through fake intel or whatever, he doesn't have the juice to run more rockets. So he knows that his whole nuclear ambitions thing is not going to happen. So it's best in his, which I guess technically he gets a win too, because by him being this little pumped up, I'm Kim Jong and I'll do all these bad things to you thing, he got people to pay attention to him, and he got people to try to continue to like do things like, hey, can we give you this if you'll stop doing that? He got to keep his name relevant so that he didn't become looks like North Korea has oil, we're over there in 3 minutes. Like kind of thing, because that's what America had previously done. We see something that we like, we take it.
This is supposed to be happening this week, right?
No, it's happening right now.
Right now,
yeah. Trump just arrived today, so that'll date this podcast to June 10th. But yeah, Trump arrived today. He left the G7 summit in flames and came to South Korea, to Vietnam.
I'm very interested also to see the results of Mueller's probe.
Well, Mueller's probe is a whole nother thing. And I wish we had time to go into that, but we need to keep going. One other thing that I wanted to mention, and we'll be quick about this, was I feel like music is getting weird right now. And I really like how different everything is getting with music. We're now getting to the point where you've got artists coming out that aren't like traditionally like people that you would think, you're whatever. Or you got some artists that you don't know how to really classify them. So that's becoming something that's really great, and it really goes to show you how different music is going to be in this I guess newly formed generation.
I think it has a lot to do with users or listeners having the ability to listen to whatever they want to listen to. Like, you're no longer forced to buy a whole album. You have streaming options. You have all these different methods or vehicles to consume music. So the weird stuff has the ability to have a platform. Because if you like weird stuff, you can go find weird stuff.
And you don't have to be force-fed 10 hours of it. You can take 5 minutes of it and be like, oh, that's cool. And keep moving. But I wanna say that I hope that within all of this weird shit coming out, we separate weird, creative
quality.
stuff versus weird. Get that shit the fuck out of here.
No,
type shit.
You let
like
those
you
weird
can't let
kids
all of it
who
come.
rap-
There has to be a line.
But that
has to be
that shows your musical age.
Yeah,
You're at the end.
yeah,
You're at
I'm
the
showing
end
it.
now.
I want it to be out there.
You're at the end. You're at the end now. Like that's the difference. Like either you embrace this new shit. The way it's gonna come weird. It's gonna come strange. You're not gonna like it. It's gonna be yeah. Like
God damn, no. I can't.
I understand that you can't, but that's showing your age. With music, you have to be willing to let the new stuff.
And I give it a rock. Like
the
even
way
some
that
of
it hits.
Like let's say Lil Uzi, just because his name's out there. Uzi, Tekashi, all that shit. Like some of them make decent music. It's still not my music. It's still not. I don't buy that shit. I don't play it nowhere. But when my nephews and they playing it, I'm like, I get it. It's cool. Rock it. No problem.
Streaming conscious music,
but it's not for me. But then when they play certain shit, I'm like, who the fuck told you this was music? Like, when did this become music? Is there a definition of music?
Entertainment.
It's
right. No, it's music. It's music.
I think
it's not
we have
traditional.
to understand that. For me, I believe that these are all emerging genres because it's kind of like it's
but
not really hip
anymore.
hop. It's not right. Everything's kind of fused together. You know what I mean? Like I find myself listening to Tekashi one day on my way to work, and it was one of those days where I was like stressed out, and like I'm hearing the gunshots in the background, and I'm just dying laughing because I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Exactly.
But it's just entertaining, and at some point,
right.
whether it's like a workout or like I said, I was stressed or whatever, it serves its purpose.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would never like categorize him with like a Kendrick or a J. Cole because it's not really of substance.
So maybe that's what it is. We need to start. The categories need to be broadened.
Well, the categories need to be broadened for you because again.
Well, no, I'm sorry, not broadened. Condensed.
Yeah,
this category does not cover all of these things. This category covers this. And
but now you're splitting hairs to save your previous history. But you're not the consumer anymore. How many concerts did you go to last year? The music that exactly. The music is for the people that go to concerts. So if you're not going to concerts, like people ask all the time, "Oh, hip hop is dead. We don't see whatever." No, hip hop's not dead.
The case at all.
Niggas stopped going to concerts, so the kind of shit that they started playing was different than the shit you liked, because those are the people who
say we need to get back out to spend some money and they'll start remembering what we want.
Yeah, but that goes back to consumers. I remember going on YouTube and listening and looking for. I think I was looking for a J. Cole, like a old song, "Folding Clothes," which is one of my all-time favorites.
For you.
And there was footage of J. Cole. I think he landed in, I'm not sure if it was South Africa or somewhere, the day after his album dropped. And he was performing live, a sold out crowd, and they knew all the words to his new album that just dropped.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it was kind of like, you have your audience, just like Tekashi 6ix9ine has his audience, J. Cole has his audience, Kendrick has his audience. It's just that we all don't consume the same things the same way, you know? And so, like, those kids that are weird, that like that weird shit, like I said, they can go and find that content now because it's streaming, it's everywhere.
Okay, so let me ask you this. What made these motherfuckers so weird?
That's what I want to know.
How did kids become this fucking weird?
No, it's not that they're weird. We are growing up now, and we have.
When I was 17, I was not weird.
No,
I was not a
weirdo.
weirdo.
You were saying that because when you were 17, your choice of music to listen to were maybe 12 genres. The kids nowadays, they've got 50 or 60 genres plus cross genres. Plus, they've lived on an entire life where everything that anyone does is broadcast for every single person to see. So they're not weird, so to speak, to their fan base. They're weird to us because they're completely unlike any generation that has come before them.
This is true.
And you know what? I feel like this all kind of ties back into politics because I feel like this is what they're fighting against. this kind of homogenization, like this mixture, this kind of cohabitating where we're all kind of consuming each other's shit. And so you'll see all these videos of white kids like doing the latest black dance or urban dance or yes, and it's kind of like, we got to stop this. Like, what's going on? We want white America back. And it's kind of like, no, because number one, the music is kind of bringing all these different
people together, which I appreciate.
You know,
but I mean, this started in the 70s. Like, it started in the 70s with people beginning to mix. And in the 80s, like, we started really mixing. In the 90s, it whatever. And then the 2000s, like, it became to where you're like, you got
Trump was like, stop that shit. Everybody just separate. Get behind the border.
No, Trump just wants to make his money.
But
and that's it. But going back to your music point,
but like, he's feeding it off of people. A lot of people say stop that shit.
A lot of people would like to say stop it. Like, that's why Trump made the whole thing of, Jay-Z was making all this profanity at the Hillary Clinton thing.
And now all of that stuff is basically obsolete. Like, I know the other day I was watching Ari Melber on MSNBC, and then he went to the Breakfast Club, and, you know, Charlamagne was saying, like, what brought me to your show is the fact that you're always quoting Jay-Z references or Jay-Z lyrics. Yeah. And it's kind of like, all right, so now his whole audience, whether they've been ever exposed to hip hop or not, are inundated with these references. Right. And so again, all of the genres are crossing and all of these audiences are intermixing. And so, you know, we're no longer going to have, you know, this whole urban genre separate completely from the pop genre, from the weird genre, or whatever we're gonna call it, because everybody's mixing.
On the one hand, it's cool, but
I know, but that's the thing. That's how I'm saying.
I have to be an old fuck.
That's what I'm saying. You're old.
It's like I want my good songs.
I
want my Styles P and my 50 Cents and my Joe Buttons separate from the Uzi Verts and the Tentaciones and all of them.
But that's
I just
want
to separate it. And
I understand what you want.
When we talk about it and when we judge it, I want them judged separately. I don't care that they
exist.
I don't care that they have a following.
You don't make the things anymore.
I don't. I'm just putting it out there. Somebody gonna listen. It depends on who's gonna stand up first and make it happen.
But they're not gonna stand up and make it happen.
If I get a coalition of old fucks first, we on it.
A lot of the content,
the old fucks ain't gonna do it.
We gonna get it done.
And a lot of the content that's being streamed now, they do these crazy algorithms. So you might be listening to a Jay-Z or Tupac, and then have
8 songs later. What the fuck is this? Yo, it happened to me several times. I hate that shit. How did we get here? How did we get here?
I get that you want to know how do we get here, but the difference is, and the thing that you have to accept is that you're old. And music has changed, and it's never going to be the same again.
You might be right. You might be right.
And in fact, like that's like the thing. I remember when reggaeton was taking over, and people were like, "Oh, this is going to be the thing that kills hip hop," and it's like, no.
Who thought that?
Hip hop is always going to be around.
Nobody thought that.
No.
That's bullshit. Nobody thought that.
People were completely crazy about this reggaeton thing.
Island.
Well, I mean, I remember when Eminem first came out, there was this huge debate about, you know, how do we categorize this? How do we classify this? Like, you know,
rap.
It was rap, but then he was white, and then it was like kind of this comparison between black rappers and, you know, now Eminem, and it's kind of like, can we put him amongst the GOATs because he's a good rapper, but then he's white.
Yes, I don't know.
Right, but
but that was a huge debate.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think it was. Like, I don't.
It was. It was
in the
huge.
moment. It was. In hindsight, it doesn't seem like such a big deal.
Yeah, but we're looking at it now.
I think the only thing
the music that's gonna be in 5 years is gonna be so crazy. You're gonna be like, Lil Uzi Vert.
Let me tell you.
I missed that guy.
No, it's not gonna happen. Definitely. But I think the only thing that was up for debate, hot topic at the time when Eminem was doing great, was the fact that his numbers. Of course, definitely affected by the white audience, which is making him more prolific than he really is. That was the argument. It was never an argument that he was making dope ass fucking music.
No, but I think
and it was rap, and it was great. But
people always use that against him to minimize his success. But
I think the argument is over.
No, that argument is over now. But we are 15 years later.
Yeah, it's been a minute. Everybody old.
Not even 15. We're like 19-ish years later. Right. Like damn near 20 years later. The same arguments that you're having now, in 19 years, you're not going to have about music. Because it's going to be something completely different than what you were expecting. The genres are all mixing. That's not going to change. People comparing things. When I talk to kids about top 5 now, they got a little Uzi Vert in there. A couple of them got Tupac or Biggie or someone.
What?
Then they got
top
like
5.
50 Cent or some shit.
Yo, this is bullshit.
Kids are listening to music totally different.
In a sense of progression.
But I'm going to let you have the last thought.
I'm going to just say this. In the sense of progression, where you want music to progress, you want an art form to continue to grow, we want hip-hop to continue to grow and thrive, right? At what point is there supposed to be some parameters that it doesn't go outside of? It does. I
don't think that there is.
Because if you're telling me in 10 years, I'm like, Uzi Vert was one of the best ever because we didn't know.
No, I didn't say one of the best ever. You're going to look back at Uzi Vert and be like, you know what? I see what this guy was going for. I see that he was trying to rap because these people now, they're just going to put out albums that just go, Bleh.
That's what I'm saying. And that's why it should not be rap anymore. So you can
it's
continue
going
to
be
evolve,
considered rap.
But you should be able to evolve your way right out of fucking hip hop into something else.
This is like the Lil Peep argument that people give all the time. May he rest in soul, rest his peace, rest his soul in peace.
Ooh.
So Lil Peep is this white artist.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
But he instead of like just doing traditional rap, he goes, I was sitting da 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 da.
Kind of like a sing song.
It's sing song, but he's not really singing.
Nursery
but
rhyme.
also he is very depressing. Like you listen to Lil Peep, and you're just like, fuck, I feel like I want to literally lay down and die.
Yeah.
But that's who he was. Like you authentically, when you listen to Lil Peep's song, you listen to him. You're like, okay, I see like here. And then we end up dying of suicide. So getting back to that whole thing, sorry, drug overdose. Sorry, not suicide. Thanks for the correction on that, salted caramel. Yeah. But when he died of that, it was like, I mean, based on your music, I mean, we were kind of expecting this to happen.
I mean, I was actually conflicted because I didn't know who Lil Peep was until he passed away.
Yeah. So
because I was like, because it just came across on the wire, and it was like all of these people were posting about it, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I need to know who this is. And I came across an interview, I think, with his brother, and his brother was saying, well, you know, it wasn't so much that he was depressed, but it was just his style of expressing himself. Mm-hmm. And I kind of wondered, well, you know, because all these kids were following him, and so maybe they had the impression that was genuinely who he was, when it was more so like a marketing tool.
Gimmick?
I don't want to say gimmick because
we don't want to bring that word back into the fold. We want to just let it go.
We're not going to say gimmick.
Nobody's gimmicky anymore. Everybody has a marketing ploy.
No. It's not a gimmick. Everybody has an angle. Everybody's angle. Like he said, when he first came into it, he dissed everybody that was in the industry to try to get on, make niggas mad, talk about how he was going to rob them.
This is the problem. We are taking gimmicks or taking these words and changing them into acceptable expressions. You change it into an angle. That's acceptable. Anybody can come up with an angle, and it seems like I'm doing meritable work. But that's what everyone does. It's a gimmick. Why is it a gimmick? Because you're going outside of what is supposed to be known as proving yourself to be an artist, talented enough to be listened to or cared for by others.
Oh, it's never been about talent, sir.
It is about talent.
No, it's never been about talent.
The gimmick,
hip to the hop to the hip to the hop. That's how it started. Don't ever bring up hip hop and mention talent, because talent had not one shit thing to do with how hip hop started.
Even now, it doesn't. Like, you literally have to package yourself.
A buzz.
They don't do development anymore. Like, you need to.
Well, I mean, development is for Korean bands and for pop singers. No one else does development.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. You listen to way more music than
I know, but that's the difference between all of the genre listening that I listen to.
You got to have a good understanding of the YouTube generation.
Right.
Well, not the YouTube generation. You have to have an understanding of the new generation. Like, when you look at someone like Bad Not Good, they're a jazz band. But when people heard their sound, they're like, wow, these kids are fucking dope. Then the kids were like, yeah, fuck the greats, fuck Miles Davis, fuck all these other old jazz cats. We only play jazz because we want shit that sounds dope. But jazz community was like trying to excommunicate these kids. It doesn't matter that they were the most skillful niggas that are out right now. What matters is the fact that they were like, yeah, fuck the legends. We just care about making dope ass music. We feel like these niggas, like, the thing about it is they were so smart. Like, they were like, yeah, I feel like this particular tempo is a waste. It's lazy. It's not methodical. Like, they came with straight facts about what stuff is. And it didn't help that they were white. So when they were white saying this, and you're telling them fuck Miles Davis and fuck all these other people were pissed. But that's why I say it has nothing to do with talent. These kids are undeniably talented. Mm-hmm. But people care more so to finge on whatever can attack the youth. So people do, they're not talented. People do, their opinions are wrong. People always do that. That's what people said about hip hop in our generation. These niggas just they didn't say niggas. They said these rappers, and they would use quote unquote, are just these loud, gun-toting, obscene whatever. And then for like people in the 80s are like, this music just encourages flagrant disrespect for the old school. And in the 70s it was, oh, you guys just like that music because it encourages sex and rock and roll is the devil's music. Everyone always says that about whoever the upcoming youth is.
If it's any consolation, I feel like just like when there was this whole big auto-tune trend. Everybody was using auto-tune and we hated it because we're coming from the 80s baby generation where we are obsessed with the lyricism of good pure
rap
music.
Just
rap. And it just as quick as it came, it went away and it died down. And there's still people now who kind of incorporate it into their whole style, but it was a trend. And just like these, I think these for the most part, these weird off the wall, just non-traditional quote unquote hip hop artists, they're gonna fade away.
I feel like
I hope so.
I feel like that's a whole
or they're gonna transition into some sort of related trend.
Right, which I don't have a problem.
I disagree.
I don't mind them sticking around and making a lane for themselves. I just really think we need to conserve great music.
I get that.
And don't hand
that
out easily to
and
everybody.
Also don't forget that just like there are these trendy, weird off the wall artists, we still have our Kendricks and we still have our J. Cole's and we still have our Mozzie's and we still have, great lyricism that's mixed into the fold. It's not that great lyricist or hip hop is gonna become obsolete. It's just that along with that weird genre, we're still gonna have people who like our Commons and all these other artists who are gonna maintain that substance. That's the part of hip hop that we kind of care about.
And I just don't want them to be compared. If you
I get it.
If you move yourself into the other genre, don't compare yourself with these lyricists.
We've heard the old man on the hill.
I'm just saying, just don't compare them.
Heard the old man on the hill.
We don't do the same thing.
Rabble, get off my lawn. You kids are old. Yeah. We heard it. But
you made a song. I made a rap track. Don't compare the two.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
We've heard it. Thank you. Fortunate for that last little one. So what I wanted to go into next would just be, what would you do if you came home to your wife or your husband and they had bruises all over their face, and when they told you about it, it was because they side nigga beat them.
Yo, I was ready to get the strap. And then you said side nigga.
Yes. So it's not that. So that reveals for you two things. One, they were beaten by someone who's a side nigga. Or side whatever for you. Or they also are cheating on you. So you're finding out two things at once.
So there's so many different factors that will play into this.
No, what would you do? No, don't give us factors. We don't care about that. We want your honest result. If you want to think about it, I can go into mine, and then I'll give you two to think about it.
I know what I'm doing.
Okay. What are you gonna do?
Get the strap.
I'm going to get the strap. I will deal with the wife after she heals, because you gotta go get the strap. At the end of the day,
so you're going to go to jail for a nigga she fucked.
I'm not gonna.
Now you about to get a third.
I have to go see this person. Whatever happens when I see them, I don't know. But I have to go see this person.
So essentially now, in the law of self-defense, you completely negated any level of self-defense. You're not gonna be able to claim that. You're not gonna be able to claim that they whatever.
No. I don't give a fuck about that. I mean, that's probably not
So
smart. It's probably not smart.
We taking it straight niggas.
It's probably not smart. But I'm saying at this point, you're talking about my wife. Okay, so I have to go see this person. I have to go
So
have
you're
a
gonna see
conversation
them with
this
the strap.
person.
So you're gonna see them already starting on 10. You know, when you bring a gun into any situation, this makes it.
I don't own a
on
gun.
10.
I don't
On
own a
10.
gun. I mean,
So you're getting an
I'm
illegal gun.
I'm getting the strap in the 50 Cent hashtag way. I'm going to see this nigga. I don't
It's
have a gun.
basically.
It's going to escalate,
It's
and I have to go see this person face to face because whether you was fucking my wife or not, you put hands on my wife, and that's going to stop right now. You're not going to see this person again, as far as I know. And then I'm going to go home, and I know all this makes me sound like a dumb, stupid sucker, but the reality is, when you're married to somebody, like really married, cheating doesn't necessarily end the relationship. So I have to deal with the most disrespectful, hurtful thing that happened to me, which is somebody putting their hands on my wife before I deal with whatever issues we got that had her out cheating on me. Correct. So I got to go see this nigga. Straight up. And then I'm come back, and while she's in the hospital, we don't have a lot of conversations.
Okay,
Like,
she came back,
well,
so she's not in the hospital. But secondly, so you're going to go see this man.
Yeah.
And somehow no escalation is going to convert.
I didn't say
what
that.
you sound like you're saying is that you're about to end up in jail.
Nah. Why would I end up in jail? Who's calling the cops?
So you say
who's calling the police?
No, because there's a mature way to handle that situation though. If
what's the
he's
mature way?
gonna say-
You fucked up my wife. Yeah, I did. I fucked up twice.
Yo, I don't know how most interactions. I don't know. When you go see somebody,
So you never see an ex-boyfriend at the same time. That's what I can interpret this. Because as a nigga who's seen, for the nigga who's been the side nigga, and for the nigga who's been a nigga in confrontation with a girl side nigga, it never goes that smoothly.
No, I don't think it's gonna go smoothly.
No,
but I know how it's gonna go, and it's gonna go how it's gonna go before any law enforcement is getting involved. That's why I don't think.
Sir. By saying that, in a state that you're in, which is a red state, you are going to jail. It doesn't matter that you think no one's gonna call the police. If he lose, he gonna call the police. If he
I'm going.
If he wins,
I'm going by then.
No, if you lose, they're going to find you.
I'm not gonna lose. What are you talking about? He don't even know I'm coming.
Yes, he do know you coming.
No, he don't.
So true story, right?
Go ahead. I'll let you go.
Okay, so in the scenario that you described, if my significant other came back to me bruised up because he was with the next bitch and she fucked him up. Damn, that's my husband though? Does it have to be my husband?
Yeah,
it has to be your
that's what makes it. If it was my girl, I'd have fuck that bitch. It would have been a totally different answer for me.
Well, I mean, man, that's hard because she's crazy.
Yeah, she gotta be.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
he
that's
gotta
why
go deal with that.
So you putting him straight out to go deal with that on his own.
He gotta go deal with that on his own because now I'm concerned for my safety. Because if she fucking you up like that, and then I'm like, what did you do to her to get her that mad that she fucking you up like that? So you need to go back to her and figure that out.
Okay. See, I respect
you.
I respect that.
I mean, I don't think that, like he said, when you do marriage, it's for better or for worse. And I know myself, if I'm getting married to somebody, that means I'm ready to ride or die for that person. Right. So that's not necessarily going to end the marriage, but at the same time, he has to turn right back around and go handle that because you're not bringing that into our home.
Mm-hmm. As for me myself, I would help her file a police report, and I would go ahead and get her ready to get on this divorce so that we can move on. Because regardless of this nigga fucking you up, one, you're gonna cry as hard as you possibly can, and you know these white police officers are going to take your side over his. We're going to use this justice system the way it was meant to be used. But then you need to go because you obviously don't care about our relationship. The fact that you cheated with a guy who had a violent streak, which maybe you didn't know, but there's always those indicators.
And not only that, but I feel like the fact that it got to that point, it escalated to that point, is because there was
more invested in it.
Right, a lot of emotions involved.
That was my next point.
A lot of feelings involved. It seems as though that would have been something over a span of time.
Right. That's my next thing was.
To that point.
I would still react the same way.
So you go to jail.
Yeah, I would still react the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Then when I came home to deal with the wife, I
make sure I
would probably
money for
realize that this couldn't have been you just fucked them, or I just been fucking a little bit. It had to be more than that. So that me dealing with her might end up in divorce because I can forgive you went to Miami and had a wild
I
night with
don't
your
know though,
girls.
because I feel like
Miami's been the cause of so many mental.
So what is your definition of for better or for worse though? Because
I don't know. For better or for worse is bullshit.
When you get emotionally involved with another person, I think it's hard to forgive because you're supposed to care about me above all. If you're giving into physical desires and stuff like that, and you just or being stupid or you being selfish or something like that, we can go through that. That's for better or worse.
So you
emotionally
can deal
getting
with
attached
cheating,
to somebody,
but you can't deal with cheating to the point that she gets beat up because they're so emotionally involved.
Yeah. So you can deal with cheating, but you can't deal with cheating.
I'm not saying I can deal with cheating. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I would want to try. I don't know if I can deal with it. It hasn't
but the fact that you're willing to try.
Can I pose a secondary question though? Because I had a discussion with a previous coworker where he made a statement that, and he's been with his wife for over 20 some years, and his statement was emphatically, every single man cheats. Would you say that that's true?
Emphatically, no.
Emphatically, I don't think it's every single man cheats. I know plenty of men who are faithful.
Yeah.
As the day is long.
That's like saying all black men are bad fathers.
Exactly.
Or deadbeat.
I don't think they're absolutes when it comes to things like that.
Is the majority? Probably.
I don't even say that because I feel like to a certain extent, black men or men in general are expected to be these sexual creatures.
Right.
We expect that from birth, and that is especially true in the black community, where men are allowed to have three emotions. You can cry at your mother's funeral or your child being born. You can react with emotions when playing video games or watching sports. Full range of emotions. Right. Everything from crying to whatever. And I know I'm stealing this from Dear Black People Volume 2 on Netflix. Definitely check it out if you get a chance. And you're allowed to be angry or indifferent most of the time. Like, those are the emotions we allot to black men.
Right.
So when you get these situations where things go wrong, a lot of times if a man steps out of lockstep with those emotions, women are making comments about you not being mentally whatever, and it's like, oh, so a man had a slightly different thing than what you thought? Oh, I guess he's whatever. Or they overreact. So they get overly angry. When people get overly angry, they get violent. Like that's just some shit that happens. Like it's just reality of how things go. I don't know what we can do about that other than to have conversations like this, hopefully, and get up from that. But I don't think, getting back to the original point, that all men cheat. I feel like people cheat because the thing that we don't admit to is that women sometimes will have an entire whole ass affair. No one finds out.
Let's talk about it.
I think it's just because y'all are more sloppy cheaters, though.
I don't think it's more sloppy cheaters. I feel like the difference is that how men cheat and how women cheat are different. Every woman I know has a work husband. That nigga who they hang out with, and they do things together, and they give him little comments, and he'd be like, "Oh, you looking great today."
And this also comes down to the definition of cheating.
Yeah.
Is there emotional cheating?
No. Emotional cheating is the cheating that happens most commonly. I know people think that the most common cheating is physical, but no, the most common cheating is emotional cheating. You're getting from somebody else
what you can't get
from your partner, or what you're not expressing to your partner, or what your partner's not telling you. But again, we don't look at that as being the bad cheating because it's just whatever. But it's like when you over there doing like that girl, like Tyler Perry's wife, and Why Did I Get Married, where your coworker is like trying to kind of put a move on you, and you know how he feels, but you just enjoy how nice he makes you feel. It's just a badass nigga who's like, that's a Thursday, I'm gonna go over to ass to get my dick sucked. I feel like that's how I'm gonna do it.
I feel like the emotional cheating is worse than the dick suck.
Yeah, exactly.
But the emotional, but I mean, I can't speak for all females because some of them are just nasty hoes, but I think that for the most part, the emotional cheating is a derivative of a long period of lacking from the emotional
standpoint. Same thing with the dudes. I need my dick sucked because she ain't sucked my dick since my last birthday. It's been 9 months.
Exactly.
Right, so that's essentially what we're saying. For the male, it's a more physical thing, but for the woman, it's more of an emotional thing.
But an emotional thing is something that you can express.
So would you be comfortable with your significant other? I haven't had some head in a long time. I'm just go get some head and
no.
Right, but you could go get your dick sucked because she hasn't done it since your birthday.
No. What we're saying, what I thought you were taking that is your significant other saying, "Hey, my work husband or whatever is going to do whatever." I didn't think you were going to the "I'm gonna get some head" thing, because I'm down for my significant other or whoever, whatever they want to do. But at the same time, I feel like a point that you aren't quite doing is equating.
As long as it's not emotional.
No. What I'm saying is, what you're not equating is that they're the same. And like he's saying emotional cheating is where you're saying that emotional cheating is less. I'm saying they're equal. But the difference is that you are not allowed to, as a man, exactly. As a man, you're not allowed to say, "Babe, I really wish you'd suck my dick right now." He's going to bring up 8 other things that didn't happen or how things felt.
You ain't even clean out the garage. What the fuck they have to do with my dick?
Exactly. Whereas as a woman, you're allowed to say, "Hey, babe, I wish sometimes when I did things, you would just comment and just let me know how you feel about me." And then you do it. She's like, "But I felt like you were feeling like you were just kind of trying to gas me up." It's like, what, woman?
Exactly.
What do you want? Do you want me to give you praise and give you this emotional feeling? Or do you want it in like a specific way? Like with men, we've learned a long time ago, a girl sucks dick how she sucks dick. There's very little you can do to tell her to suck dick better. And a lot of women there is very little you can do for most women to get them to suck dick better. Some are more receptive to feedback than others. It's not true. Some are more receptive to feedback than others.
I would side with Fortunate on this one. I feel like there are ways for you to...
You can
manipulate.
You can hint. You can guide.
Yes,
you can encourage certain behaviors.
Sir, just like every woman has found out, all head is not created equal.
It's not.
And there are some people who are gifted with it.
Right.
And generally people who are gifted with it tend to be a little bit more receptive.
I was about to say something totally different.
Yeah, I know you were going to say something totally different. That's why
I had to say something. Wow.
There are some people who are more receptive to it, and there are some people who are less receptive to it.
True.
But not every person that you tell is going to be able to be like, "Well, I'm just going to improve it." And this isn't something I got. This is something for me. This is something I learned from a woman. That same Jasmine person. She was like, "Look." I
think it all depends on your relationship and the dynamics of your relationship.
I don't think it has anything to do with that. Some people are just not going to be good at it.
Okay, right. So there are two different types of women now. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the pleasers versus the non-pleasers.
No, but they might please you in every other way that you have.
They're just not good at.
They're just not good at that one thing. They might throw it down. They might be able to throw it across the wall.
So, what makes you commit to someone who's not good at that one thing? That is so important to you.
No, it's not. That's a good question.
It's not.
Because, I mean,
no, but it's
I
not.
would like to
but
know.
You have to rate.
That's always my all-time question when it comes to having an open discussion or open dialogue with opposite sex. What is your defining factor when you commit? What makes you commit versus what makes you not commit?
What makes you commit is finding someone who gets most of the things that you want done.
So that's back to the 80-20 rule.
Yeah, but that's a lie. No, that
is a lie.
That is the truth.
No, it's not.
That is the truth.
I'm going to say something, and I want you to think about just your own personal situation.
Yes.
Or just think about your own emotion. A man, honestly, you have an idea of what you want, what makes sense to you, what fits you. And then comes along somebody who makes you feel a certain way. You take those two things, and if they give you enough of each, you're going to commit. It may not be everything you thought you wanted it to be, and it may not make you feel everything you wanted it to be, but if it's enough of each,
if it's close enough,
you're going to hold on to it.
You're a compromise.
You're going to be like, you know what? She makes me feel...
Well, no, it's just being realistic.
She makes me feel 80% of how I want to feel, and she's like 40% of what I thought I was going to have as a woman. As my 40, girl, 40. Low, right? I'm just throwing out numbers.
No.
It could be the other way. I feel like it could be the other way. It could be 90% of what I thought.
It's never going to be that.
It's never going to be exactly what you want. Yeah. So it's not a set of things that can happen that'll make you commit. It's what percentage does she have of these two things? How she makes me feel and how she treats me, and then how I thought my woman would be.
No, you know what? I really do like that. Because that explains how you can commit to someone who maybe just isn't the best dick sucker.
And then over time, you start realizing, God damn it, the fucking 20% that was missing is very important to me. But you weren't thinking about that in the beginning. The cheating comes in the sense that there's sometimes that there are going to be certain things that you're just not going to get. Like every woman just isn't going to be into
anal or whatever thing it is that gets your rocks off. Maybe she don't want to dress up in the rubber suits.
Rubber suits.
Whatever it is. Whatever it is that your big thing is. Maybe she's not going to want to do that. But if she is a wonderful mother, if she is always supportive of your ideas, if she helps you become the man that you want to be and sticks by you in times that are going great and in times that are not so great, then you're going to be like, you know what? Maybe this isn't the big thing.
Right. So you brought up a factor, which was the whole practicality point, right?
Practicality for me is because at the age that I'm at, I've seen enough. I've known that some of the best women who were great at all the physical things were terrible at any of the emotional and had very little mental faculty. And then you see other women who have all the mental things and all the emotional things, but are terrible at everything physical. So you kind of wait till you get someone who's kind of a mix. And also, I feel like to a certain extent, and I'm sure both Reed and Armstead are going to roll over when they hear this, but to a certain extent, you let some of the physical things go.
And that's the point that I was going to make, because in our social media age where there are these build-a-bitches on Instagram, or the women who are, you know, surgically enhanced, you know, does that affect your desire or your preference when it comes to physical attributes? Like, would you look at someone and say, I might try to find something that looks like this, or something that has that, even though you know that this has to be physically enhanced, like, you know, enhanced.
But that overall view of what you want or what your girl is supposed to look like standing next to you starts to get skewed based on all of the images that come across you. So if you watch too much porn, if you're looking at Instagram models all day, every day, you start thinking, you know what, I need a bitch that's 36, 26, 36 with a big old booty.
That's because y'all haven't hung around these Instagram women.
I'm just talking about physically. You don't start.
No. But what I'm saying is that the problem with a lot of guys is we need niggas to work more in these fast food or how these other jobs where you meet some of these Instagram girls and you're like, you are the nastiest, trashiest.
Well, I mean, we live in an era where there is no personal contact and interaction, so all you know is an image on the screen. Don't nobody really know nobody. Nobody's around.
All right, J. Cole, calm it down.
I don't
feel like everything's like your little photograph song.
Bruh, I promise you that is very true. All these kids growing up in high school, they know these high school girls, but in their mind, they want these girls they seen online. So
in our day and age, we grew up with this wonderful site. It was called blackass.com. And on blackass.com,
how did I miss that one?
And on blackass.com, it used to be filled with these exotic black women, so wonderful, so cute, so whatever. They probably in their 50s now. But at the same time, it was a website that catered to like these women. You'd be like, I am 14 years old and I want a woman like this. Right. And then you start getting like girls your own age and they're like, you know what, this is actually pretty good. Like this is not the whatever. But what has changed now is the fact that we are so interconnected. It used to be when you saw those girls on blackass.com, you were like, ah, man, I want something like that. But then you look down the street and you were like, I ain't gonna find one of them girls around here.
But that's what I'm saying. The internet makes you think it's possible. I can connect to somebody like that at some point in time. So that starts to become that makeup of what you want your girl to be.
I feel like only if you've never met those kind of people.
Yeah,
I feel like once
they only know them on the internet.
Yeah, but that goes to you getting exposure as a man. As a man, you have to travel. You have to go places. You have to meet people. And whether that means that you need to drive Uber or you need to move to a different state, different college. Because once you meet those Brazilian girls and you see that they are not who you thought they were going to be, it changes you forever. Unless you
I've
just
never met a Brazilian girl. So
well, then I'm sorry, man. You missed out on a lot.
I might.
Well, I mean, in fairness, I was kind of more referencing the Instagram models that you know were surgically enhanced. And so
Sophie
the question
knows
is
best?
Like, the question is like, does that skew your perception of what you want?
No, women care about surgically enhanced. Men don't care. We care about two things: what's effective and what we can access.
The total package, as we can exactly accessibility.
What's effective? So what I can actually take home,
right?
And no, sorry, the other way around. So what I can take home and what's effective is then what I can actually pull. So we take any man right now into a bar. It doesn't matter if we have Beyonce sitting over there. If you are the woman, salted caramel, that we know we can take home, then we're going to put our time on that. Because at the end of the day, it is much better.
What's attainable, basically.
It's much better to go after someone who's attainable than to chat up the girl at the end of the bar who does not give two fucks about you.
But there's a moment in every man's life where you have to reevaluate what's attainable. And that's right before you walk out the door with what you have attained. Once you get it, you're like, okay, let me make sure there was nothing else that I could have got. So basically, before you get married or you start going down that path, you start thinking, I'm really going to just, bite it all with this right here, and that's it. So then you start looking around like, okay, is this it? Or
so that goes back to my question of what motivates you to commit.
No, but I feel like what you're stating now are two different things. You just said what's that motivate us to commit. So that could be girlfriend all the way up to wife. He's saying now for his I'm walking down the aisle, I ain't doing this twice.
That point.
Like that's when you go through.
That's before that you're not.
That's a reevaluation.
Because before that you're not committed. You're just dating.
Well, no. Dating is a level of commitment because
a level.
That's what I tell.
Yeah,
that's what I tell certain people.
The decision to, unless you're not talking about exclusive dating. I feel like in Atlanta, that all of that is subjective. Because
it's not subjective. It's women think that once you're dating each other. What is your
definition of
dating?
dating?
And men will say, yes, you can think that all you want, but I'm not married to you, so I.
No, that's a good point, but we'll have to save that for another time. But getting back to the core of your question, and we'll wrap this up in the next 5 or so it doesn't get too long.
Yeah.
When it comes to dating, you're right. But when we're talking about exclusive, that's when that list comes into effect. What is it that I have currently? What is it that I thought I was going to have?
Exactly.
And how it makes me feel, and you kind of go up and down those two lists. And if it's high enough on both percentages, then you exclusive. When it comes time to what am I going to use for my evaluation for marriage, I mean that does a lot. Like I, for one, believe that you should go to marriage counseling. You should see, does an expert actually think this is going to end up? Because just because a relationship is going well now doesn't mean that in 5 years you're all going to be together. I know plenty of people who started out, they were the perfect marriage, whatever, and right now they are divorced. And they've got kids, and now it's kind of hanging out.
It definitely happens.
Exactly. But that's the thing is that you never know if what you have now is going to stand the test of time until you're going through it, until you figure out the ways that you're going to cope when things aren't going so well. When you figure out the ways that you're going to
change, when people change.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing is the people changing part is the part that people aren't ready for.
They don't factor
that into play.
About it, right? You don't factor that in.
Yeah, you don't factor out.
But also it's kind of hard too because that
is impossible.
That there are other things that play into that, like your environment
and the other people don't know they're going to change either. Like there's things that happen that
you're right. No one knows that they're going to change, which is like how you didn't realize you were becoming a music dinosaur earlier. Fortunate, like you didn't realize that you were becoming a musical dinosaur, but then you look back on it, you're like, damn, I really am.
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to change into that guy who doesn't want to budge.
But I, for one, knew that you were always going to change into that guy. Because I, for one, am a chameleon. Like, I like everything. And that stayed with me through all these years. And that's why, like, when I see other people, I'm like, maybe there's a couple people like Lil Xan that I just absolutely hate and think are fucking trash. But everyone else, I see like, all right, I can see why y'all like this. I mean, I tell kids all the time to mess with them that, yeah, your favorite artist is whack. But I don't really care because it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect my bottom line. And for me, I'm like a black Republican. I don't care if it doesn't affect my bottom line. If this does not cost me money, pussy, or my personal freedom, do what you want.
Right.
Like, or my family. I mean, don't fuck with my family and friends. But if it's not costing me one of those 4 things, I don't care.
No, I get it. It's just when my opinion is asked, I have to tell.
No. Tell your opinion.
But in reality,
but you need to realize what you need to what you need to give that as a precursor is, hey guys, or pre-warn everyone with is, guys, this is gonna come from me. Is I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I had a very distinct musical ear, and so this is what I think, having grown up for where I am. And hopefully, it's kind of like that song by one of those YBN niggas, the one where he's talking about old niggas, because he does a really great job.
That's what I'm talking about. I respect that dude. He can rap. I'm okay with it.
Only respect
he can rap.
You only respect him because he raps in a format that is familiar to you and in a method and delivery that you believe to be achievable. You don't respect Lil Uzi Vert because Lil Uzi Vert is completely foreign to you. He doesn't do things the way that traditional rap
mean like the noises
goes. Not just the noises, just his entire.
That's what's foreign to me. I just expect words when people rap, but
no,
who am I to expect words?
Everything that he does, from the yeah, like all that stuff, to just kind of how he does things, to sing-songiness, to all that stuff. He's doing things based on how he feels are best. He goes into the studio, and one thing that people don't realize is that he records like 3 to 7 songs every single fucking day. So that means he's got a trash can probably bigger bigger than most artists. And I understand that you think that his work is trash, but getting back and encapsulating on this point, you're an old nigga. And you got to accept that, realize that, and when these young cats are talking, you have to just let them talk. Speak your truth. Say, hey, I believe based on this, you're whatever. But you always have to have that precursor there. Like, hey, I grew up during the 80s and 90s. This is kind of how it is. Because if you grew up now with these same kids and their same time frame, you would like the same stuff. You're not immune to your environment. And that's a feature that we don't like bringing into it. Is a lot of stuff is based on your environment. When you grow up, how you grow up, who you grow up with. Like if you are growing up in a Catholic family that really values, X, Y, Z and the third thing, then maybe you rebel, but maybe you conform.
I'm trying to think, do I know some young niggas who, respect the art in the way that I think it should be respected?
No, there are some. Like, again, no one's a monolith. No people are monolithic. There's always going to be people who like the same things you do, don't like the same things you do, kind of indifferent, and some people who are just kind of all over the place.
But I think, too, if you're not like a hardcore music head where you're, listening to these underground, unsigned, artists, or you're amongst a community that'll always share, things that they come across that's similar to your taste, then all you're going to have is the perception of these, crazy or, weird artists, but like with people like Mozzie, who is similar to your Kendrick Lamars and your J Rocks and the like, once you, because of course these streaming platforms, they do algorithms. So if you were to do like a Mozzie channel or even a Kendrick or a J Cole channel, you will eventually start becoming exposed to the artists that are similar to your taste,
but are of this decade,
right? And so it's not going to seem skewed where all you're seeing is these weird people that you can't relate to.
Well, it also depends. Yeah, a lot of it is how you kind of encapsulate everything. But, this has been another great episode of the Everyday Black Men Podcast. I know from that music that I'm hearing right now, it's that time to wrap it up. Normally we do the It's a Wrap segment. We don't have to do that. We can just close it in. You got anything last you want to tell us, Fortunate?
Respect my genre. So, just respect my genre, y'all.
That's not going to happen. Salted Caramel.
It's your girl, Salted Caramel. It's been a pleasure to bring the female perspective, point of view to the podcast. And, hopefully you guys will be hearing from me again.
All right. Another episode of Everyday Black Men Podcast. It's a wrap.